What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, Cover Killer Nation? I know it's late, and it's the last day of June, but we have a couple of album announcements that we need to talk about. No, these aren't all official release dates and things like that, but these are big enough affairs that people want to know this information, and it's on 3 discs that are from 3 bands that have a lot of sort of interest surrounding them whenever it comes to their brand new material. And then we're also going to talk about one other story very briefly. Scary moment that happened on stage during a show a couple of days ago, but all things in due time. Let's talk about these 3 albums first, and let's start off with the granddaddy of them all, the one that everybody is talking about in some way, shape, or form, which is hysterical considering out of the 3, this is the one where we've gotten the least amount of information. And that's the brand new Tool release. Yes, 10,000 Days was released a long time ago. It's been probably, definitely more than a couple of thousand days. We're close to 10,000, but we still have another 10 years to go. However, this is going to come sooner than that. And Buzz from the Melvins was able to actually reveal some information from talking with Adam Jones of Tool, who told him that the shortest track on this album, where the arrangements are complete but recording has not yet begun, the shortest arrangement is roughly 12 minutes in length, which means that these are going to be absolutely epic songs, long tracks, which makes you kind of wonder, is this going to be one that's going to fit on one LP, or is this going to be a double album that we get out of Tool? Many questions, still not a lot of answers, but we do have that information, and it's certainly causing a buzz, quite literally. It also makes you think that instead of 10,000 days, maybe they should have just called their last album 10,000 minutes, because maybe that's how long this one will be. But moving along, let's move to Mastodon. And Once More Around the Sun was an album that definitely divided some members of the Mastodon universe. However, it's something that the Hunter sort of did as well. You're kind of always curious to see what this group does next. And their next goal, their next project could actually be a double album, and it's one where Brent from the band talked about how the album has been written and recorded, and he himself, along with the drummer and the singer, wrote an album that is basically centered around a situation that Brent was in. It was over a breakup. It was written around the Once More Around the Sun sessions, and he calls it Cold Dark Place, which almost sounds like it should be a Sentenced album, if you remember Sentenced. Some of you newer fans might not. Check them out. Pretty good doom metal band. If you really want to call them that, it's whatever. But this is kind of interesting because it also means there's a second album to this, a second part to this that was written by basically anybody whose name wasn't Brent. So it'll be neat to see how this works out. It makes you wonder if it's going to be sort of like Yellow and Green by Baroness, either that or some of the other different double albums that we have seen over the past couple of years. So very interesting. It'd be also really cool if they somehow got a 3rd disc in there and made it very similar to Skahamish's release or Swallow the Sun. Kind of have triple albums be the new, hot medium. But finally, we also have Morbid Angel to talk about. Man, yeah. 2011's A Lid Divinium Insanus is still on our minds. It's something that we still think about, still talk about, and actually still debate about. So it's an album that is never going to really go away until we have a follow-up. And it has been 5 years ever since, and we still don't have one. But the band has recently announced that they have booked some studio space, and they're going to be working on the follow-up to A Lid Divinium Insanus. And it's definitely one that makes you wonder, is it going to be that old-school death metal sound from their earliest days? Is it going to be one that's, following the direction of A Lid Divinium Insanus? Is it going to be one that takes things on a brand new direction? We don't have much information regarding that, but to be honest with you, just based off of some general, trends that you would see, I think that this is one where they may return a bit more to the roots, which you get a little bit of that on A Lid Divinium Insanus. 5 years later, you have to explore this album and realize there is material on there that definitely is presented in the traditional Morbid Angel light. It's just that the ones that aren't are so bad that it gives it that infamy. So I think that those projects, those little experiments, you may not see as many, if any of them, on this disc, because if they were planning on going in that direction, they probably would have issued the follow-up a little bit sooner than this. Last but not least, we have to talk about Corey Taylor taking a fall in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, we didn't report this on the website here. We didn't talk about the fact that Corey he just had major spinal surgery. He can't headbang or jump around. He's wearing essentially a neck brace. And during the show, on a 95-degree day, he's still in his full garb. he ends up taking a pretty nasty fall, and at the end of the show is unable to get up. He needed medical attention actually to leave the stage, which is not something that you really like to see, but you can also maybe understand the precaution considering he had just had surgery. And also, 95-degree heat is nothing to fuck with, especially if you are in a full costume like he is anytime Slipknot hits the stage. He did, however, tweet out afterward that he is A-okay, everything is fine, and it was probably one of the most epic falls in history. So Corey using a little bit of his humor, a little bit of his lighter side, to kind of, reinforce that he's doing all right and that he doesn't plan on stopping. Though this might be one of those things where Corey may want to look at his health a bit and maybe sit out just a couple shows and rebook them to give himself the opportunity to heal a little bit more, because I could definitely tell you that Corey, no doubt, feels a bit limited in his abilities, considering he can't headbang, jump around, be his typical self. But you do have to give a hand to Corey Taylor, considering he's taking right out of the book of like a Dave Grohl, and has major neck surgery and says, fuck it, I'm going back out there. I want to be on the stage. It's calling me. So that's really, really cool. Scary moment with the fall, but it's good to hear that he's okay. And that's all we have. If there's any other interesting announcements that you feel that were left out of this, or that you want to tell the world, definitely tell them in the comments below. My name is CoverKillerNation, and I will see you guys whenever the calendar says June. Well, it's saying June now, so I guess whenever it says July. I believe I screwed that up. Maybe I just want time to go in reverse. That way I can, have my birthday again and be younger. Want a butterfly effect me? I'll see ya.